Think you knew the Dukes of Hazzard? Think again. On screen, the show looked like carefree fun, fast cars, wild stunts, and small-town charm. But behind the cameras, it was a completely different story. The sets were chaotic, the stunts were dangerous, and the cast and crew faced challenges that most viewers would never imagine. Crashes, last-minute repairs, and heated arguments were everyday occurrences, hidden behind the smiles and denim. In this video, we're uncovering 20 of the strangest, most shocking, and little-known facts about the Dukes of Hazzard. From terrifying car jumps and behind-the-scenes accidents to unexpected controversies and bizarre production secrets, you'll see that the real story of the show was far wilder than anything that played on TV. And just when you think you've seen it all, we'll reveal a bonus fact at the end, a reason why the show ended suddenly without a proper finale, leaving fans shocked and heartbroken. So buckle up, because what seems like a simple tale of fast cars and country adventures was actually a story of risk, chaos, and Hollywood madness. The Dukes of Hazzard weren't just entertaining, they were legendary for the wild secrets hidden just out of sight. Fact 1. Bo and Luke Duke weren't just characters, they were the heart of the show. In 1982, everything almost fell apart when actors John Schneider and Tom Wopat demanded a share of the show's merchandising profits. The network refused, believing the characters were easily replaceable. Overnight, Bo and Luke vanished, replaced by two new Dukes, Coy and Vance. Fans were furious. Letters poured into CBS, ratings plummeted, and merchandise sales took a nosedive. The new characters never resonated, and it quickly became clear that the audience wouldn't accept replacements. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to fix the mess they had created, realizing the original Dukes were irreplaceable. Eventually, Bo and Luke returned triumphantly, restoring the show's popularity almost immediately. The lesson was clear. In television, fan loyalty can't be underestimated, and some characters are simply unforgettable. Even with this drama resolved, the chaos didn't end there. And it wasn't just the Dukes facing controversy. Daisy Duke herself would soon find herself in the middle of a major behind-the-scenes battle. Fact 2. The General Lee wasn't just a car, it was practically a character of its own. On screen, it soared through the air, crashed into barns, and survived explosions without a scratch. But behind the scenes, the reality was far from glamorous. Every jump you saw was real, with no CGI or camera tricks. Each landing bent frames, snapped axles, and shredded suspensions. Hundreds of charges were destroyed throughout the series, leaving the stunt team constantly scrambling to keep up. Maintaining the General Lee became a logistical nightmare. When Dodge Chargers grew scarce, producers had to get creative. Miniature models were built for aerial stunts, older cars were disguised with clever paint jobs and body panels, and previous footage was recycled to maintain the illusion. Every episode required meticulous planning, and even then, the team often relied on last-minute improvisations to pull off the action. Despite all the chaos surrounding the car, the real tension wasn't just mechanical, it was human. The actors themselves faced clashes with the studio over contracts, creative control, and recognition, proving that the drama behind the camera was just as intense as the stunts on it. Fact 3. Daisy Duke's iconic shorts nearly didn't make it to screen. CBS executives panicked after seeing the first episodes, worried that Catherine Bach's revealing outfits were too provocative for primetime television. To tone it down, the network required her to wear flesh-colored tights under the shorts, hoping it would make the look more appropriate. But the attempt at censorship had the opposite effect. Instead of hiding Daisy's style, the tights drew even more attention to her legs. Suddenly, women across America were rushing to copy her look, sparking a nationwide fashion craze. Stores sold out, manufacturers scrambled to keep up with demand, and the term Daisy Dukes became a cultural shorthand for high-waisted cutoffs. This unexpected outcome shows how trying to suppress something can sometimes amplify its fame. What started as a network attempt at modesty ended up making Daisy Duke one of the most iconic television fashion figures of the 1980s. And while fashion made headlines, the show's real edge came from its stunts, dangerous car jumps, crashes, and explosions that pushed the limits of reality, setting the stage for the next unforgettable section. Fact 4. The stunts in the Dukes of Hazzard weren't just thrilling. They were real, risky, and often brutal. Every car jump, high-speed chase, and explosive collision was performed without CGI or safety nets. The drivers and stunt performers were putting their bodies on the line every single day. Broken bones, concussions, and hospital visits were not unusual. They were part of the job. Despite these dangers, the production pushed forward relentlessly. The goal was authenticity, to make every crash and airborne car feel as real as possible to the audience. Safety measures were minimal, and every successful stunt came at a high cost. Coordinators often had to improvise solutions on the fly, ensuring the show's signature chaos could continue without halting production. This dedication to realism gave the series its edge, but even the car itself sparked controversy. The General Lee's distinctive Confederate flag painted on its roof caused international backlash, with some countries banning the show entirely. What the creators intended as a symbol of Southern pride instead became one of the most contentious icons in television history. Fact 5. The General Lee wasn't just a car, it was an icon, and at the center of that icon was the Confederate flag painted on its roof. To fans, it symbolized Southern pride and the rebellious spirit of the Dukes, but not everyone saw it that way. Internationally, the flag was considered offensive, and several countries immediately banned the Dukes of Hazzard. Even within the United States, some regions refused to air reruns, and toy companies quietly pulled merchandise from shelves. The controversy lingered for years, long after the show ended. While the producers and cast never intended it as a symbol of hatred, the flag became a lightning rod for debates about history, culture, and representation. The General Lee's legacy was inseparable from that debate, demonstrating how entertainment can have unintended cultural consequences. Despite all the chaos and attention on the car, the show's secondary characters had their own fascinating secrets and stories. Behind the comedic antics and quirky personalities, there were layers of improvisation, intelligence, and hidden talent waiting to be uncovered. Fact 6. Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane wasn't just comic relief. He became one of the most memorable characters on the Dukes of Hazzard, and much of that came from actor James Best's improvisation. Frustrated with the scripted lines, Best exaggerated Roscoe's laugh, stutter, and mannerisms, turning a simple side character into a fan favorite. Initially, producers worried that this would undermine Roscoe's authority, but audience tests revealed the opposite. Viewers loved the quirky, unpredictable sheriff, and his humor became iconic. Boss Hogg, on the other hand, was the complete opposite off-screen. Sorrel Book, who played the loud, politically obsessed antagonist, was incredibly sophisticated, fluent in 5 languages, and highly educated. His intellect was hidden behind the over-the-top antics of his character, proving that appearances could be deceiving. These small improvisations and hidden talents from the actors added layers to the show, making it richer than the simple car chases and stunts suggested. Every wink, gesture, and unexpected move on screen gave the series a unique charm. But behind the scenes, problems with cars forced the crew to rely on Hollywood's oldest trick, movie magic. Fact 7. By the mid-1980s, the endless crashes, jumps, and stunts had nearly wiped out the supply of Dodge Chargers on set. The production faced a real crisis. How could they keep filming without the iconic General Lee? The answer was a clever mix of movie magic and practical effects. Miniature models were used for high-flying stunts, while older or different cars were disguised with paint, panels, and clever camera angles. Footage from previous episodes was also reused, seamlessly blending into new scenes to maintain the illusion. At one point, the crew even dressed up an old AMC ambassador to pass as a Charger, proving that convincing the audience sometimes mattered more than reality. These creative solutions kept the stunts thrilling without constantly burning through expensive vehicles. But while the cars were being saved through ingenuity, the actors had their own battles. Frustration with repetitive, childish scripts and underdeveloped characters simmered behind the cameras, showing that even in a high-octane, fun-filled show, creative tensions were never far away. Fact 8. Off-screen, not everything was as carefree as it seemed. Tom Wopat, who played Luke Duke, often voiced his frustration with the show's repetitive and childish scripts. He wanted deeper stories, better dialogue, and more meaningful character development, feeling that the writers underestimated the audience's intelligence. These tensions led to frequent clashes with producers, creating a quiet storm behind the cameras. Despite his dissatisfaction, Wopat continued to perform with a smile, delivering the cheerful, carefree Luke Duke that fans loved. The audience never saw the frustration, giving the impression that everything on set was smooth and playful. This contrast between the actors' behind-the-scenes struggle and the lively, adventurous character on screen highlights just how much unseen effort went into into maintaining the show's charm. And while Luke wrestled with scripts, Daisy Duke was creating her own unintentional ripple. What started as a CBS-mandated edition of skin-colored pantyhose under her iconic shorts unexpectedly became a nationwide trend. Her wardrobe controversy shows that even attempts to tone down the show could spark cultural phenomena. Fact 9. The Dixie horn, that instantly recognizable sound from the General Lee, almost didn't exist. Originally, it was nothing more than a last-minute joke from a crew member, intended to add a little humor to the chaos of the show. The producers laughed at first, unsure if it would fit the rebellious Southern spirit of the series, but once it was tested on set, the horn perfectly matched the energy of the Duke's wild adventures. What began as a temporary gag quickly became permanent. The Dixie horn wasn't just a sound effect, it became a defining feature of the General Lee, remembered by millions of fans worldwide. Interestingly, most of the actual cars on set didn't even have functioning horns. The iconic noise was often dubbed in post-production, proving that a simple, spontaneous idea could leave a lasting mark on the series. And just as the horn became legendary, the show itself was about to face its own chaos. Ratings dropped, and actors were temporarily replaced, throwing the Dukes of Hazzard into turmoil that would test the loyalty of both cast and fans. Fact 10. When the original stars, John Schneider and Tom Wopat, were temporarily replaced, the impact was immediate and dramatic. Ratings plummeted almost overnight, and merchandise sales took a nosedive. Fans were furious, rejecting the new characters outright and flooding the network with complaints. The Dukes of Hazzard, which had seemed unstoppable, suddenly faced a crisis that threatened its very survival. Producers scrambled to fix the disaster, negotiating frantically with Schneider and Wopat to return. Their comeback was triumphant. Almost instantly, the show regained its popularity and the merchandise market bounced back. However, the damage left behind wasn't so easily erased. The temporary replacement of beloved characters served as a stark reminder that audiences are fiercely loyal and quick to react when a show alters what they love. Even with the original Dukes back on screen, the behind-the-scenes scars lingered. The experience highlighted how fragile television success can be, and how every decision, big or small, can ripple through the show's legacy. And while the Dukes returned, other characters were hiding secrets just as surprising as these casting battles. Fact 11. Wyan Jennings wasn't originally eager to join the Dukes of Hazzard. When approached to provide the narration, he hesitated, thinking television work was trivial and beneath him. The producers, however, insisted, believing his distinctive voice was essential to capturing the show's playful, southern charm. Reluctantly, Jennings agreed to record a few lines, not expecting much to come from it. Once the show aired, everything changed. Jennings quickly fell in love with the humor, quirky characters, and light-hearted spirit of the series. His narration became more than just a storytelling device. It set the tone, added personality, and guided viewers through the chaotic adventures in Hazzard County. The charm and wit he brought elevated scenes, made gags funnier, and gave the show a unique identity that audiences immediately connected with. Over time, Jennings's voice became iconic, shaping the personality of the series almost as much as the actors themselves. What began as a reluctant job transformed into one of the most memorable elements of the Dukes of Hazzard. And speaking of iconic additions, even small touches like the General Lee's horn would become unforgettable. Fact 12. Daisy Duke's iconic style didn't just make her a fashion symbol, it sparked a nationwide craze. When CBS insisted that Catherine Bach wear flesh-colored pantyhose under her shorts, the move was intended to tone down her look for primetime television. Ironically, the added layer only drew more attention, making her legs the center of attention and inspiring fans across America to emulate her style. Almost overnight, stores struggled to keep up with the demand for similar shorts and pantyhose. The sudden surge in popularity became known as the Daisy Duke effect, showing just how powerful television could be in shaping fashion trends. What started as a network attempt at modesty unexpectedly turned Daisy into a cultural icon, proving that censorship sometimes only fuels fascination. This effect wasn't limited to fashion. It highlighted how small production decisions could ripple through pop culture in ways the creators never anticipated. And while Daisy's wardrobe made headlines, the show faced even bigger challenges behind the scenes. Next up, the original pilot nearly faced cancellation due to its risque content. Fact 13. The original pilot of the Dukes of Hazzard was far from the family-friendly show fans would come to know. show. Packed with risque humor, jokes about alcohol, and suggestive dialogue, it immediately raised red flags with CBS executives. They feared the content was too edgy for primetime television and threatened to cancel the series before it even aired. In a frantic scramble, producers went to work editing the episode. Scenes were cut, dialogue was rewritten, and jokes were toned down, all in just a few days. The goal was to preserve the core of the story while making it acceptable for network television. This last-minute overhaul saved the pilot from cancellation and set the stage for the show's eventual success. What's remarkable is that despite the frantic editing and behind-the-scenes chaos, the essence of the Duke's charm survived. The pilot introduced the characters, the General Lee, and the tone that would define the series. And while the script was refined under pressure, it was the actors' improvisations that would turn simple lines and actions into the iconic moments fans still remember today. Fact 14. Some of the most memorable moments in the Dukes of Hazzard came purely by accident. One of the best examples is Bo Duke's legendary hood slide. During filming, actor Tom Wopat was rushing to hit his mark and improvised by sliding across the hood of the General Lee. What was meant to save time instantly looked stylish and effortless on camera. Producers loved it, and the move became one of Bo Duke's signature actions, recreated throughout the series and adored by fans worldwide. But it wasn't just Bo's stunts that made the characters unforgettable. Boss Hogg, the loud and scheming Southern politician, was portrayed as a cartoonish villain on screen. Off-camera, however, actor Sorrel Book was highly educated, spoke multiple languages fluently, and held several degrees from prestigious universities. He cleverly hid his intellect behind the character's comedic antics, creating a contrast that fans never suspected. These improvisations and hidden depths added layers to the show, making every character feel alive and unpredictable. Fact 15. After 7 seasons, the Dukes of Hazzard came to an unexpected and abrupt end. In 1985, CBS suddenly cancelled the show without warning, leaving fans and the cast stunned. There was no proper farewell, no final episode to tie up the stories viewers had followed for years, and no opportunity for the actors to say goodbye on screen. Shockingly, the cast discovered the cancellation through newspapers rather than from the network itself, a clear sign of how chaotic things had become behind the scenes. Fans were left heartbroken, feeling betrayed that their beloved show disappeared without closure. Petitions were signed, letters were sent, and campaigns were launched to bring the Dukes back, but nothing changed. The abrupt ending highlighted how wild and unpredictable the series was, not just on television, but off-camera as well. From dangerous stunts and improvisations to sudden cast changes and production crises, the show's legacy is a mix of excitement, controversy, and sheer determination. In the end, the Dukes of Hazzard remains frozen in time, a reminder that chaos often hides just beyond the camera lens. Fact 16. Every barn explosion you saw on the Dukes of Hazzard was real, crafted with practical effects and actual explosives. There were no digital shortcuts. Each fiery blast was designed, set, and detonated by the show's special effects team, who risked their lives to make the action look authentic. Accidents weren't rare. Miscalculations sometimes led to minor injuries, and the tension on set was constant whenever a detonation was planned. To keep up with the demands of the show, the production often bought old barns specifically to blow them up. Once a barn was used, it was gone, destroyed entirely in the name of entertainment. This commitment to realism added an unpredictable energy to every scene, keeping both the cast and crew on edge. Despite the obvious dangers, the team pushed forward, prioritizing authenticity over safety regulations. The daring stunts and explosive set pieces became a hallmark of the series, defining its thrilling, no-holds-barred style. The Dukes of Hazzard proved time and again that it wasn't afraid to break the rules to deliver unforgettable, high-octane action. Fact 17. Behind the scenes, Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane's rivalry was just as lively as it appeared on screen, but in reality, it was fueled by playful banter and occasional disagreements among the cast. James Best, who brought Roscoe to life, often joked, teased, and even clashed with the lead actors between takes. These moments of friction weren't negative. They actually helped build the chemistry that made the show feel authentic and fun. Roscoe's character thrived on improvisation, and Best loved to add little surprises to each scene. No 2 takes were ever exactly the same, and the other actors had to react on the spot, keeping everyone alert and engaged. This unpredictability carried over to the audience, making making Roscoe feel spontaneous and entertaining in every appearance. The friendly rivalry off-camera mirrored the one on-screen, blurring the line between acting and reality. It gave the show a lively, unscripted energy that became part of its enduring charm. Fans might have laughed at Roscoe's antics without knowing that much of that humor was born from real-life interactions behind the camera. Fact 18. The General Lee wasn't just a star on screen. It became a merchandising phenomenon. Toys, models, and other products featuring the iconic orange car flew off shelves, generating millions in sales. But behind the scenes, tensions simmered over profit sharing, as lead actors John Schneider and Tom Wopat demanded a cut of the earnings. The network initially refused, creating a real risk that the merchandising goldmine could spiral into conflict. The demand for General Lee products was explosive. Stores often ran out of stock within days, and fans clamored to get their hands on miniature versions of the car. Even small features, like the Dixie horn or the car's distinctive paint job, had a direct impact on sales, proving that every detail mattered to collectors and enthusiasts alike. This merchandising frenzy highlighted just how powerful the show had become culturally and financially. It wasn't just about stunts and laughs. The General Lee had turned into a brand with real-world consequences, shaping both the industry and the fan experience in ways few could have anticipated. Fact 19. Filming. The Dukes of Hazzard wasn't just about performing stunts. It also meant enduring exhausting travel schedules. The cast often had to journey across the rural landscapes of Georgia, searching for the perfect locations to capture the show's signature jumps, chases, and country charm. These trips could last for days, with actors and crew living out of hotels or temporary accommodations far from the comforts of home. The weather didn't make things any easier. Sweltering heat, sudden downpours, and uneven, muddy terrain were all part of the daily reality. Despite these challenges, the cast pushed through, fully committed to bringing the fast-paced, high-energy scenes to life. Their fatigue and discomfort didn't just test their stamina, it added authenticity to the performances, making every chase, jump, and interaction feel grounded and real. These grueling journeys highlight how much dedication went into making the show appear effortless on screen. Behind the laughter, stunts, and orange Dodge Chargers was a cast fully immersed in the rugged world of Hazzard County, giving viewers an experience that felt alive and unfiltered. Fact 20. The Dukes of Hazzard was full of surprises, and some of the most unexpected cameos added extra layers of fun for keen-eyed viewers. Throughout the series, several actors and celebrities appeared briefly without official credit, slipping into the background or small roles that often went unnoticed at first glance. Some of these faces would later rise to fame in Hollywood, making their tiny Hazzard County appearances a fascinating piece of trivia for fans. These uncredited cameos weren't just random, they were small Easter eggs that rewarded attentive viewers. Whether it was a familiar face in a bar scene, a passerby in a chase, or a voice heard only briefly, these appearances added depth and playful unpredictability to the episodes. They showed that even in a show built around stunts, action, and comedy, there was room for little hidden gems. Ultimately, these secret appearances are a reminder that the Dukes of Hazzard was more than its storylines and car chases. Every detail, every background character, and every tiny cameo contributed to the rich tapestry of Hazzard County, keeping fans engaged and guessing. Looking back, the Dukes of Hazzard was a whirlwind of chaos, improvisation, and enduring cultural impact. From the explosive stunts with the General Lee to the iconic Daisy Duke fashion, every element of the show carried a story beyond what viewers saw on screen. Behind the scenes, actors navigated accidents, conflicts with producers, and grueling travel schedules, all while delivering performances that made the show memorable. The blend of risk, humor, and creativity created a world that felt both wild and authentic. Even small details, like secret cameos, the Dixie horn, or improvised gags, added layers that fans still celebrate today. While the series may have ended abruptly, leaving stories unfinished and episodes unmade, its energy continues to resonate. Ultimately, The Dukes of Hazzard proves that what looks carefree on television often masks a world of challenges, and yet it's those very challenges that leave a lasting mark. The chaos, jumps, and bizarre stories live on in pop culture,